Hey everybody, we're getting ready to come up with the amazing singer-songwriter Carol Riddick. It's here jamming the way you make me feel, one of my favorite songs. We're bringing you flirtatious, beautiful. We're bopping all over the catalog.
Wow, you really are. I appreciate that. This song is so much fun.
And welcome back to this week's edition of Style and Empowerment Chat with Laura and Friends Radio on Take It to the Streets, Downtown Hot, WHTL Urban Radio, London Energy Radio, FM World Pakistan, The Voice. So we are so excited to welcome to the show the beautiful and phenomenal Philly's R&B, jazz, soul, neo soul, singer-songwriter Carol Riddick.
Woohoo! Hi, everybody.
We're so excited to have you on the show today.
Oh, I'm excited to be here.
Oh, hold on, Carol. Can you hear me? I can't hear you. I think
I
your
can hear
volume's
you.
down.
Oh, is it okay? I can hear you very well. I can hear you. Let's see. Am I low? Let's fix that.
Can you hear me? I can't hear you. Check your setting on your StreamYard. Just to make sure you hit the mic option.
I sure will. Let's see. Okay. Is it any better? Any better? How's that? Is that any better?
I can't hear you.
What is going on? No. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. This is weird. Okay.
It's very weird. I'm not understanding why that is.
We're talking. I heard you. Like before I hit live, I heard you. I mean, where's Kissinary?
Okay. Is it any better?
No, the visual is nice and we're here and we're on sync up.
Any better?
Yeah, my mic is on. Did you check your
How's
mic
that?
setting?
I am. I'm doing everything, and I can.
Okay.
I see here.
All right, hold on. Let's play a song.
Okay.
And yeah. Just play with the song. Technology and all this jazz. Okay, so hold on. Because if I leave this, it's like if we come back in, then the link doesn't work. So I'm trying to think. Okay, call the station.
Okay.
Call the station.
Okay.
I have the phone here, and we'll troubleshoot.
We'll do that. Okay, wait, and I did see that. That was in the email.
Just get more music for a minute.
How about that? I like it. What's Okay, I have the number right here. And where am I? There we are. Okay. Oh, I'm coming.
Hello.
Well, hello. That was, oh my goodness. That's funny.
So now you can hear me, right? I mean, yes. Separate from the phone.
Right, I can hear you from both, which is so funny. So, but I'm not moving anything because I don't want to lose any audio, any visual, any video.
Right.
I'm just going to sit here with an AirPod and headphones on.
Just like, so when you didn't change like the mic setting or anything, right?
No, I did nothing. I'm sitting here. Nothing. That's so bizarre. It's so bizarre to me. Like, wait a minute, what happened?
Yeah, when we were in the waiting room, we were fine. And then
that's funny.
Live, your mic left. So, okay, so why don't we do this? I just want to by the station right here. I want to
Okay.
see if it could sound, because what we could do is just have this going, and the
Okay.
video will probably pick you up a little bit here. We just
That
gotta
works.
work around the technology.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah,
so
that's
just
true.
just talk for a minute.
Okay, okay, so I will keep talking.
Oh, let me put you
Um,
on speaker. That'll help.
okay.
Mhm.
We
Yeah.
we are a pair
Okay.
today. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,
Yeah,
11, 12.
that'll work.
That'll
That'll
work?
work.
Okay, we can do that. Okay.
Yeah, and I think the speaker will probably pick up the audio in the video and StreamYard because we're close in proximity. So we'll just make it work that way.
Okay, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. However we can get it to work. Let's do this. Let's turn that on.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
There we go. So we could just come back in as soon as.
Now that we work the kinks out.
Exactly. That's why I always say we go this way. Have the phone number handy.
Right?
So
Nope.
now we need the troubleshoot, because you can't just take for granted that the technology is going to be kink free.
Yep. Yep. I love it.
And we're back. So we had to deal with a little technological
Oh my
hiccup here.
goodness.
So we're back.
Right?
So now Carol and I actually, well, I don't want to say met, but we saw each other in passing, fleetingly, the Cool in the Gang Marian Anderson Lifetime Achievement Award, which of
Oh
course
goodness.
we were in the green room, yeah, part of the press corps. That was such an amazing evening.
It was.
And so Carol was part of one of the segments of the concert tribute to Cool and the
Yes.
Gang, doing Ladies Night. Oh my
Yes.
God.
That was so much fun. So much fun. But you're so right about that night though. That night was phenomenal. It was just a wonderful night.
So now, we're going to talk about your musical influences in a bit. So how did that whole collaboration come up, and that performance? It was so fun.
It was fun. You know what? So when I was invited to participate in the tribute, they told me that I'd be doing the tribute with Lady Alma and Bree Steves. Immediately, I was like, "Ah!" I was so hyped. I was so hyped because I love the two of them. I mean, Alma is
Mhm.
my sister. You know, we go for family. We are family. And I had just met Bree, and I fell in love with her. So I was so excited to do it. Right, and I mean, to pay tribute to Kool and the Gang, I mean, it just doesn't get any
Yes.
better than that, you know?
And so now, you're from Philly, and
Mhm.
I know the sound and influences of Philly has shaped your sound and
Oh,
songwriting.
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, how could it not, though? Philadelphia is, an infectious city, you know, and everything about, the fabric of Philadelphia is creativity, so
Hmm. Yes. So now you are, of course, the many things we have in common is that music has just been a force in our life, from when we were young, and you knew at a young age that music was your calling and the
Mhm.
direction you wanted to go.
Well, you know, it's so funny because I was going between, I loved music, love music, and knew that it had a place in my heart. It was my passion. But I also, well, you know, as a creative, we have so many ideas and so many things that we want to do, but music was at the core of it all. So you're absolutely right about that.
Now, some people might not know that you actually started out as a successful background singer. Uh, yes. So I'm excited to talk about this. So Carol did background singing for Jill Scott.
I did.
and yes, and the Roots, and of course Vivian Green.
Well, I
That
didn't
was
sing for Viv.
oh no,
Viv
you
and I,
sang with her.
yeah, Viv and I sang with Jill,
With
and with the Roots, I did
yeah,
projects with them. Yeah, we did like
okay,
Divas, VH1 Divas, and things. Yeah, yeah. So we worked together, but I did sing
together.
background.
Okay,
Yep,
got
I did support Jill. I sang background for Jill Scott. I sang background for Les Nubian, and the list goes on.
on and on. So it's quite different. Like when we were interviewing, well, me, it's like I
I
mean,
think that too.
it's
But we're
like,
women. We do so much. We're women, so we feel like
exactly,
mommy.
exactly. It's like you always think of your brand as like a second person. So it's like, wait, we did this. And Jan Warwick was on the show, and of course, she started out in the gospel realm and doing backup singing as well. So
Mhm.
I'm always intrigued at that. Of course, being a solo artist is totally different than being a backup
Mhm.
singer, and giving vocal support to somebody else's work. So, what's that kind of creative process like, and getting your mind right in performance style and all that, versus background singing, and then being, the talent that's up front in your own group.
Wow, it's and you're so right about that though. It is definitely a different process, but for me, I have to be able to hear myself compliment the body of work when I'm working with another artist because if I can't compliment that person, then I'm not serving a purpose, not a good one anyway.
Right.
um, yeah, with your own, there's so much more fluidity. There's so much more freedom that you have when you are the lead vocalist. But it's important to be sure that you are supporting
Yes.
the artist when you are singing background vocals because that's your purpose. It's not your job
Mhm.
to out sing or do more or. So
Right.
I love that. I think it's the discipline about it that I love so much. You
And
know,
then it's also slightly different too. Background singing versus what they call, back in the day, they just would call it duets, but now it's feature. Feature. So funny. I'm like,
either way,
it's
whatever
almost
they
the
call
same.
it, I'm
Right,
always doing it when I
exactly.
have the opportunity to do it.
Right.
So,
It's
you
like
know,
basically when you're singing and have a co-lead with
I,
another artist, that's also totally different than when you do background because
Mhm.
when you're doing a duet that you're more in the forward spotlight vocally on the
Right.
forefront so you can kind of show out and all that stuff but
Yeah.
still as you say you want to blend styles.
And I was about to say, even when being a feature or singing a duet with another artist, you want to be mindful. You definitely want to be all that you are, and you
Mhm.
want to do all that you're capable of doing. But at the same time, you want it to be tasteful and always, well, I want it to be tasteful and always complimentary because I want you all to feel what we feel.
Exactly, exactly. So now, in the early part of your career, you actually went on tour with Will Smith and DJ Jazzy Jeff.
Oh my gosh, Laura, let me tell you something. It was my very first tour. And I was a baby. I was a baby. Oh my goodness. But it was the absolute best experience. It was a 10 rap group tour. I am so sorry. My co-host here. Yes, yes.
Aww.
Hi. Hi. Who needs a haircut? Thank you,
See,
mommy.
if I could bring my cat to the studio, I would, but she would not endure the travel.
I hear that. But so I'm sorry to have interrupted, but yeah, I sang with Jeff
Yes.
and Will with my first tour, and it was a 10 rap group tour, and we toured the country, and it was amazing. It was a once in a lifetime experience.
Wow.
I mean, it was if I can remember, it was Public Enemy, it was 357, it was the Ghetto Boys, it was MC Light, Queen Latifah, Kid and Play, Kid Capri, Jeff and Will. Oh, I can't remember the last two. There were 10. T I can't remember the last two, but there were 10 rap groups all together, and, I mean, it was a party every day,
I can
basically.
imagine.
But it
And
was wonderful.
Of course, DJ Jazzy Jeff also was part of the Cool in the Gang tribute. So he did a montage of all Cool in the Gang songs, and then took the sample, like actually did it in reverse. He showed all the songs in hip hop
Yeah.
that sampled Cool in the Gang songs. So really, Cool in the Gang is like a foundation block of modern day hip hop. And it's normally they take the song and put it in a sample. He so creatively took the song and then pulled every
Mhm.
song.
Mhm.
It's just really fantastic, because sometimes we just lose the awareness.
I was, yep, you're so right about that, because as time passes, we move on to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, and you forget the groundwork. You forget the base, for the core from where it came. So you're so right
Mhm.
about that. But he was phenomenal too. Oh my goodness.
Oh, he's
It
so
was
fantastic. I mean, I know it's there in a press capacity, but music, art, but these are all the things I love, and you know, passion. So I'm like so excited. I'm like by the stand. I'm like,
we all were. Oh, we all were. We
I
all were.
literally, I could so like I'm in the pit and I see the shadow of Nigel Walker walking by. The man hadn't even done a lick yet, and I'm like, oh my god, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
and was he not fire as well? I mean, Nigel,
Oh, oh,
I mean,
but
his aura. He is a mood all by himself. He is just a
yes,
mood.
yes. And I mean, that also speaks to what we were talking about before, when you're segueing from the background singer
Mhm.
to the forefront, the artist, in performance style and stage presence. I'm sure it's also a bit different, and then finding your own style, presenting as a solo artist on stage and
You,
videos.
you know, I do agree with that, but I'd like to add though, with performing as a solo artist, I just it's important to me that we have a conversation. That's how I see each and every performance, that you and I are having a conversation. I have a conversation with whomever is in the room. So if I'm communicating and conversing with you, then I am my authentic, unapologetic self. So what you see is not, a contrived image or happenstance. It's not contrived in any way. It's just that's just who I am. We're communicating, we're sharing, because it's about the music. It's always about the music and the message. And I, for one, believe that, having been given a gift, that's my ministry. So that's what it's about. It's not about me at all. So as long as I'm open and I'm allowing, my gift to flow, that's what you're getting. You're getting my gift through my authentic, unapologetic self.
Now you have just such a beautiful, rich tone.
Oh,
So, and I just love your tone.
thank
So,
you.
I always wondered that with artists like yourself that just have this, God-given gift of a tone. Where's the moment where you actually really discovered it and grew it and realized, wow, I have this, and it's not being vain. It's like being in touch with your gifts.
But
I have this vocal talent, this range, and this is what I want to do with it. This is how I'm feeling. Like where you really have that realization. I have a voice.
that it's funny you would say that. So as a little girl, I would always sing, walking around, running around, and like everybody in my family listened to music, and it was a different genre or a different type of music. So I loved it, loved it, loved it. But I'd sing, and they would always say, "Oh, somebody tell that child shut up, child shut up." So I did not believe for the longest time that I could sing, and it wasn't until I was challenged to sing, and I sang for a band, the maximum level band. Um, I sang for them just on a challenge, because somebody said, one of those, and I said, "Oh, okay."
Okay.
So I sang, and they asked me to join the band, and I was floored. Like, no, seriously, did you really want me to join? And I joined, but because of that, I grew confidence. I became confident in my own gift. I believed in my own gift because prior to that I did not. And they helped me. They helped to shape and tone, my gift. They helped me to do so, I'll say. So yeah, I didn't believe for years that I could sing. And then as I matured and my voice and my song styling matured and changed, it was, it was like to me one time I heard a recording because I hate to listen to myself, and I heard something. I said, "Is that me? Like, did I do that?" And then I remember Gordon Chambers saying to me one day, like, when did you start using your head voice? I said, I have no idea. I have no idea, but it was just, I guess, a part of my maturation process with my vocals. But so I'm grateful.
So now you also are an accomplished songwriter, and I
Yes.
love artists who both sing and write their songs because you really feel like you're getting a deeper part of the artist, and when you're hearing the words, that it's a reflection of them. So just talk to us a bit about your style as a songwriter, and just how you started learning the process of writing songs.
Yeah, I started actually writing when I was 13. It was when my grandmother passed away, and it was my release. It was my way of releasing, and I did not know at the time that it was the start of something else. I had no idea. But it was the only way that it was the only thing that made me feel better. So I started writing poetry and songs, but I didn't share it with anybody. And as time grew on, and I would write more, and I realized how comfortable it was for me to share, and how much of a release it was because I was so shy. Um, it was my outlet. It was the only way for me to let it out and to share, and to do so comfortably, because I
Mhm.
wasn't always comfortable just talking about my feelings. But writing them down just made it easy. It just felt easier to me, and it still does actually sometimes. Because even as an adult, we don't always like to talk about things, but it makes it easier
Sure.
when I put it on a piece of paper.
And it's interesting that you mentioned about the vulnerability of putting your work out there, especially when you're a new songwriter. Um,
Mhm.
I remember when Maxwell, when I was covering his 50 Intimate Nights tour, he was saying, like, reflecting his career and when he first started out and he was writing songs, that he just wanted to write
Mhm.
some songs that maybe an artist would want to record, that would touch
Mhm.
somebody. He didn't really think where it could all take him, and it was about the connection with people and the vulnerability, that when you create art and you present there's that part of, well, will they like it? Will it be received? Will someone want to sing this?
Mhm. It's a huge part of it. I mean, because at the core of it, we're all human and we're all sensitive. Everybody has something about which they're extremely sensitive. And when you're, again, being your unapologetic, authentic self, and you're exposing that to the mass, that is frightening. We all, I don't care who you are. There's some part of you that wants to be liked,
Right.
wants to be accepted. It may not be on a grand scale, but there's a small part of everybody that wants to be liked or accepted by
You
somebody.
want respect. You want respect for your
You
work,
do.
and
Mhm.
it's like you say, it's your baby.
It is.
You want
It
people
is.
to love you. You love your baby.
Yes, but it's who you are. It's
Right.
not it comes from you, but it's who you are,
Mhm.
not only that it's a part of you, it's who you are. So you want people to like it. I mean, it doesn't, don't misunderstand me, because I'm not saying as an artist that I'm looking for all of these accolades, but at the same
Right.
time, I'm a human being. I want somebody to say, "Oh, you know what? I can relate to that. I can
Mhm.
relate to that." Now that is where the communication comes from me. If we're able to share in it, and we
The
both have,
connection.
yes, 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 that's what it's all about for me. That's what it's all
So
about.
now, you've said prior that your whole purpose with your songwriting, your mission, your thread of intent is to empower people through your work and give them
Absolutely.
positive music that they can be inspired from and feel
Mhm.
connected.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I say it all the time, and I say it in every show. I always say to the audience, "Be good to you, but be good to those around you." And I
Mhm.
always say, "I love you, but God loves you so much more," because I feel like we've all gotten so far away from the reality that we're all in this together. That I just feel like we're supposed to help one another. And I feel like we've gotten so far from it. We don't listen to one another. We don't talk to one another. We don't even know how to talk to one another,
Mhm.
quite honestly. So that's,
And use words in complete sentences and not emojis.
I know, oh my goodness. I
Ah,
just had a
emoji.
conversation the other day. I don't know what half of the emojis mean. I said, "Wait,
Ah, I'm like
I don't
emojis are an accent to your thought. It's not a
know."
replacement for words and thought.
No, no, I say that. I said, "Please use your words."
Yeah.
But I don't know what half of the emojis mean. I have to be honest with you, Laura. I always have to ask, "Okay, now what does that mean?" Because I have no clue. I have no clue what some of them mean. But yeah, but at the core of it for me, that is exactly what I want to do. I want to empower the next person. I want to
Mhm.
encourage the next person because if I'm putting it out there, you best believe there's going to be a time where I need it back. So, I'm
Yes.
going to need some encouragement. I'm going to need someone to lean on. So I want us, all to get into the habit of doing the same. Yeah.
Exactly. And I mean, music and art and fashion for that matter,
Yeah.
it's such a collaborative circle
Oh, absolutely.
experience. Yeah, we need the elevation and the
Mhm.
inspiration and the enlightenment and just taking our minds off things or taking us to
That's
certain
true.
places. And but the artist needs that quality listener that's
Yeah.
engaged. We need the art, but the creator needs for that response. They're inspired by you. They give inspiration, but they're inspired by the listener or the viewer as well.
Mhm. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a conversation. It's all about communication. It's all about connection. Yeah, you're right. You're so right, Laura.
So now, when you're a songwriting, Carol, what is? I mean, every songwriter has different processes and
Mhm.
whatnot. One, what's your process in creating your songs and figuring out like the lyric and the building of it, and the music? And then this is something I always wonder: when you're writing a song, how do you know and get to that moment where you say, okay, it's done? Now we're tweaking. Here it is. This is it's finished.
Yeah, that's the hard part right there.
Yeah.
But I'll start with the process. For me, if it depends on whether I'm starting with the lyric or whether if I have a melody in my spirit. Um, but I always, I'll say, for lack of another way of describing it, get into the melody. So if it's a track that's been given to me, or if it's a melody that I have in my spirit, I go to that first. I repeat it to feel to allow myself to feel what it's giving me, where it leads me, and that's how I get my subject matter, and how I want to sing the song, whichever way I'm going with the song. So I get into the melody of it all first. But sometimes I will just start with a lyric and then put melody to it. But it's usually, for me, I'm in like this. There's a corner in my house. This corner here is where it's my creative space. I light my candles. I put on my diffuser. I have all my little my little scents going, and my dimmed light, and I have my sugar lump, my little fur child. We sit. I
Right.
have this huge chair in which we're sitting right now, and we
Does
sit
she
here.
tell you when she likes a beat?
She listen. You know what? I don't doubt that she will one day, but but right now, but right now she enjoys the process with me. She'll go to sleep actually when I start writing.
Oh,
And when I sing, she'll as long as she's close to me, she just likes that. So I think she likes to, to the feeling of it. But that's with regard to my process. I it's about the feeling of it all for me and where it leads me because it always the feeling of it always tells me what my subject matter should be, what my voice should be saying. So
mhm.
I rely on that. But when it's done, even I don't know. I'm one of those people that will fix it until it's broken. So I have to listen to somebody else say, Carol, okay, it is done. Just like
Right,
no
just
more,
step
no
away.
more, no more. I will fix it until it is completely broken.
Well, the thing that I love is with songwriting and music that unless you've done some things where you actually do editing, like I've heard some people, oh, editing's so boring, but I think editing and the sound mixing part, that's where the real magic happens because
It
just
is.
just changing an intro or an outro or an overlay or bringing up a bass or making this sound more to the forefront and stuff totally gives you a whole different song. It's like
That's
it's amazing magic.
No, I call them nuances. Well, actually, it's funny because I titled a song that, but that's what I call it because you're right. That's where the magic is. It could be in a ooh, it could be in like you said, the sound of an instrument, bass or guitar, or it could be a didgeridoo. It could be the sound of a triangle or anything, or it could also be a vocal sound that you make that causes you to emote in a certain way. So you're so right, but I call those things nuances. Uh,
It's like the flavor, the seasoning.
yeah. Oh, I like that.
So now let's talk about some of your influences musically, not only as an artist but as a writer.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's so funny coming up, as I was saying, my mother used to love listening to Lou Rawls, Barbara Streisand.
You'll
Uh,
never find
oh, what?
a
What?
love like mine. I love to love you. Something like I do.
You
I'm
gotta
not
sing
trying to
it.
brag. Da, 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 da,
You gotta
da. No one else.
Oh I needed that, Laura. Thank you. I needed that. Listen, but my mom would listen to, and she would always listen to she had this 145 Rise by Herb Alpert. She played that religiously, and she played Donny Hathaway and was it Roberta Flack? You are my heaven. That you are
Oh,
my so she played that those two songs religiously, but those artists, she would play everything from them. So then my uncle, he had everything, he had a whole mixture of every genre. And then my cousin liked bands. So I had Dr. Buzzard's original Savannah band. I had Mandrill. There was Brass Construction, Confunction, and all of that. So I had different musical influences. Um, I mean, I was like a little pot because I'd sit on the floor and listen to everything. So it's so difficult for me at times to pinpoint, like to say, well, this or that, because I loved it all. I loved it. Like, and
right.
there was Johnny Mathis, I could go on and on and on with,
A Motown, of
yeah,
course.
of course, of
Oh,
course, of course. Listen, I could go on and on, but because I had access to
yes.
all of this music, and like I said, there were just albums, just walls of albums, where
Hmm.
so I would sit and listen to everything and everybody, and I loved it, loved it, loved it.
And
So
it's funny, there's so many things that is wonderful and impactful about music, but
Mhm.
sometimes you don't even realize how these nuances or
Mhm.
lyrics just stay deep in your. Like I always say, like I can walk in a room with five things on my mind, and if someone pulls me in a different direction, I forget three. But I can remember the plot of some cheesy TV show from
Yes.
20 years ago, or a lyric to a Roberta Flack song, or
Yes.
this or that.
I
You
mean,
know,
priceless is Earth, Wind, and Fire. You know Earth, Wind, and Fire. You
yes,
know the lyrics to that. You just. I mean, some things they're just embedded in your spirit.
yes.
You know, once you
Um,
hear it, it stays with you, and you're just like, and nobody's mad at that. You want it to stay with you
exactly,
because it feels
exactly.
that good. You know.
And our life experiences and perspectives might be different, but music,
Yeah.
and art and the human connection to it is what binds us.
Yeah, you're so right. That's why I keep saying, I keep telling everybody we're in this together. We're just, and it's the fact that music is universal. I mean, that should tell us all. You
Hmm.
know that we are one. We are one. We are in this together.
So now you definitely have a jazzy side to your tone and lyric, and I love, like, I'm a person who I don't listen in boxes and in a genre mindset, but I love that you definitely flex to a lot of different genres, and one of which is jazz.
I love
So
that.
now you were part of a tribute project to one of the icon groundbreakers foundation block of jazz, Nina Simone.
Yes. Oh, Laura, when I tell you, so when Gerald Beasley and Roxanne Beasley called me to invite me to participate in this tribute, I I mean, I screamed yes before even thinking about it
Yeah.
because it's Nina
Yeah.
Simone. First of all, it's Gerald Beasley and Nina Simone. You're just like, okay, yes, there's nothing to
Yes.
think. But then I then I got terribly afraid. I said, oh, wait a minute,
Mm,
you just don't jump into a Nina Simone song. You just don't.
no.
You don't do that. You know what I mean? So
It's like you leave Whitney alone unless you
yeah,
have pipes.
you understand what I'm saying? There's
Yes.
certain places, certain streets you just don't walk down.
No.
So
Plus,
I
her
thought
style, Nina Simone's styling was a very difficult, complicated. It's
it
not.
is.
It's not for the one-dimensional artist.
It's not. And I'm grateful. I'm so grateful, grateful, grateful that we've been received so well. That the project has been received so well, and our interpretation of her body of work has been received so well. But one thing I keep saying in every show, I tell everybody that I was so embarrassed that I did not know as much about her as I feel I should. I
Mm,
like on the surface, Nina Simone. You hear her
right.
name, she's an icon and a legend. But it wasn't until I really, really, really dug deep into her history and the music, and then I watched, of course, the documentary that was on Netflix. I watched that and read some other, materials, and I mean, she did like I had an even heightened and greater level of respect for not only her as an artist, but as a woman, and just everything that she is, was, and stood for, and her body of work. Like,
Hmm.
then I got scared all over again.
Right. You're like, okay, what did I get myself into? That's like put up or shut up time.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. That's exactly. But I mean, you know what? Working with Gerald and the musicians that he's pulled together on this project, I mean, it couldn't be any easier or better. They make working on the project so pleasurable, and like I keep saying, it's our ministry. So I feel like every single time we perform or we record, I'm ministered to every single time, which is a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful
Yeah.
thing. So,
And I mean, it's great too now that there's all these different social media platforms
mm,
and ways to stream and reach one another if we look at it in the right way.
Yeah.
and we use it responsibly with purpose,
Mm-hmm.
we can touch each other and connect in so many different ways. But
Oh, sure.
I get frustrated that a lot of times, and we touched on this a little bit, is that with social media, some people just get lazy and put less effort,
Mm-hmm.
and we lose the actual. Hey, let's pick up the phone and speak and
Yeah.
converse. Let's actually write our thoughts out. But it's great that it brings people together from all around the world.
Mm-hmm.
But the deficit sometimes of social media, having all that quick instant access, people lose their manners
Yeah.
and making the interpersonal effort. I always say, hey, just because we're in a chat doesn't mean you don't have to have conversational etiquette.
How about
and,
that? No, you're right. Everything you just said, Laura, you're so right about that. And that's what I was alluding to earlier when I was saying that we get away from the fact that we're all, we need each other. We're all in it together. We're all in this together. We need to communicate. We need that interaction with one another. We need that personal interaction, I'll say. We need it.
Now,
Yeah.
I love that some of your songs definitely have like a sassy, flirty, how shall we say, grown angle to it.
I love that.
Grown folks,
Grown folks, grown
or,
folks. Listen, we're good and
but
grown.
from a feminine,
Mhm.
a female actualized mindset, which I think we need so much more of that in the musical landscape.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. And you're right. I believe, listen, we're all good and grown, right, Laura? We're good and grown. And I think that as a woman, it's all right to own that. It's all right to own our femininity. It's all right to own our sexuality, and it's all right to walk in it. Because of who I am, just as a person and how I was raised. I like it's important to me how I do that. It's important to me
Yes.
how I how I tell you, show you, and make clear to you that I am a woman. It's very, very important to me because I will respect you, and I do want that in return. So and everything that I say and do, I want it to be done a particular respectful way. but
Right.
but at the
Right.
same time, I do
Look,
exercise my softness. So
whatever your orientation is, but here I'm talking from the straight orientation because that's what I am. So,
I love
you know,
as an
I,
I.
I, could speak, I could just speak from my own, orientation. But sometimes, again, especially in the social media, oh, I don't have to make effort kind of
Mhm.
mentality. I'm going to say this as PC as I can. There are a lot of lazy idiot men out there. And
Yes, there are.
sometimes you have to give the ABCs and say, no, this is what I want. This is what I expect. This is, if
Uh,
you're going to roll with
mhm.
me,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
part of self love and it's part of knowing who you are and your worth and value. And say, look, no, you're not going to
Yeah.
approach me this way. You
Um,
know,
but,
show me.
I'm so sorry to interject, but I mean, you just touched a nerve. You're absolutely right, though. But it's a good reason why I've been single for so long, for a good
Yes.
while. And I too am a heterosexual female. I'm a heterosexual woman. But these men, I don't understand. I don't understand. And to add to that, when I make clear to them that I don't like being approached a certain way, or I don't like being addressed a certain way, or that I want to be treated with respect, I'm seen as difficult.
Yes.
I'm
Oh,
difficult. I'm difficult. Or what was that? What is it? I've heard. Yeah, I'm difficult. Yeah, yeah.
yes. Yes.
Crazy. You're crazy.
Yes, and too much work or
Oh yeah. Yeah.
your
High
standards
maintenance.
are too low. So what you're saying is I should have no self esteem or self
No.
worth and let you trivialize me and
Oh,
roll all over me, and then I'm
no.
an easy and cool person. Oh, okay, that sounds
And
like a
mhm,
brilliant offer.
mhm. Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly on
Like
that.
it
You
boils down to you want the woo. You want
Yeah.
the effort, you want the respect in action and approach. You want to be finessed. You want not
Mhm.
only the effort in getting the person, but maintaining.
How about that? How about that, Laura? Know that you are so right. You are so, so right. And sometimes it's really, really, it's so frustrating to me. When I think, well, when I have those moments of thought,
Right.
it's so frustrating.
Yeah,
And
and especially like yourself when you lay it out like this is what I'm about. This is the blueprint. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah,
And then they try the fuckery.
yeah.
And you're
Well, you're
like
right. You're right.
so now you're wasting my time on two levels.
Yeah.
I
Well,
took the time, if it wasn't evident, to say,
yeah.
and now you're doing the things that I said are my
See,
no's.
no, well then, Laura, I don't. I'll tell you this because if I've said it once, I have very low patience with that, and I have a very low
Yes.
tolerance. So I don't. There are not too many conversations with me with in that regard. If we have the first conversation and it continues, then what I do, and you can ask any man who's had this experience with me. There haven't been many, but they will tell you what I do is I tell them that it's clear that we don't see things eye to eye, and we don't want the same thing. But I'm going to help. I am going to help you, and I'm going to help me by eliminating myself from this equation because
Yes.
no, no, and that is
Carolyn,
exactly how I
we
approach
are soul sisters on every
that.
level. Okay?
There we
Virtual
go.
high
There we go.
five.
That's and there's no need to argue. We don't need to argue. We don't need to go
No.
back and forth. I mean, quite honestly, listen, I love me. I love me. And I can't allow you to do this to me. That's what I
Yes,
say to
and
them.
to
That's what I
dim my
say to them.
energy and get me off my
Yeah.
chi and
And I say,
all
I'm not
that.
interested in wasting my time or yours. So I'm just going to eliminate myself from this equation because clearly we don't want the same thing. And that's all right with me. Whatever
Exit
you want
stage
for
left.
you, whatever you want for you, you go
Good
get that.
luck.
This is not what I want for me. So, and we're good. We're good. We're good. Yeah,
Okay.
but then they call me crazy. They said I'm disrespectful. I'm like, wait, what? Wait, how? How?
When did having self esteem and standards become,
Mhm.
oh, you're difficult?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I wonder when that happened too. When did that? When what?
Man, I
But
definitely feel that there's an overlap with that, with the explosion of social media, because
mm,
everybody doesn't like in the interpersonal, and they show, oh, I don't have to make that, I don't have to actually, go through social graces, I don't actually have
mhm.
to make that effort. Oh, they're right there,
I
and
think you know what? I'm sorry to interrupt
no,
you, but I think you're right. I've never really, really thought, deeply about it. But when you just said that, you are so right. And it's probably because there's so much access to so many people that they don't feel like well, I don't have to work to get you because I've got access to so many others. Somebody is going
I'll
to
just
want.
set up some other person that has no self-esteem, and I can be a lazy idiot. Hey.
How about that? Yeah, well, that's good. You go right ahead. We don't do that here.
Don't let me hold you back.
Yeah, we don't do that here. So no, go right ahead.
Love don't live here anymore.
Go right ahead. But yeah, you know what? I'm just waiting for the day when it will change because I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't understand when it became desirable or acceptable. Like when
Mm-hmm.
who does that? Well, clearly
Oh,
somebody accepts it because they
yeah, because I always say, like, when I get into the dialogue, we can't just come after the people who have the bad behavior. We also have to look at the women who allow it to continue, who don't call out on it, who
Mhm.
say, "Oh, okay," because they don't feel good about themselves. So it
Yeah.
perpetuates the mentality of certain types of people.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
hey, that's fine.
No, you're right. You're absolutely. That's why I
So
say it's
we have to
what
take it
you want for you is fine as long as you don't try to impose that upon my life. I'm good with that.
right.
I'm good because this is
Because
what I want. And if we don't see eye to eye, that's okay. It's all right.
And like you were saying about it all being in it together, I also feel that way with in a sisterhood way with relationships that we play a part in how we all treat each other, the
Hmm.
emotional footprint we put. So like, think about how you're treating, like, okay, from a straight perspective, which we are, how you're treating this man, because if
Hmm.
you mess him up and then you guys separate, then later he's messed up for the next woman or situation or
Hmm.
thing, and it just creates cycles. And then in one way or another, we all have to deal with it. So, like, if we all treat each other with respect and maturity and honesty, guess what? Everybody's life, it's like a ripple.
But you're so right. Someone just posted something like that maybe a few days ago, and I read that, and there's so much truth to that. But we don't. I always say we don't adult properly because we don't communicate with one another. We don't know how to talk to one another. We don't know. We don't know how to navigate our own feelings as adults. Like I say to anybody, we don't know how to effectively disagree with one another.
Hmm.
We're living in a society, in a world now where, as two adult people, if we are communicating, having a conversation, and we disagree, I don't like you. I want to fight you. I'm upset with you because you
Right.
don't agree with what I'm saying, and that makes no sense to me
Or I'm
because we're
just going to be immature and close the conversation and not be a grown up and dialogue it out. I'm just going
exactly,
to run away.
exactly. There's no, yeah, and I don't understand. It's so hurtful to us as individuals, but to one another. And you're right. It causes this ripple effect because we all deal with it. Whether no matter how big or small it is on the scale, that it we all deal with it. And but not in the best way, not in the right
Mhm.
way. And that's another reason I stay in this little corner. Stay right here in this little corner. But no, you're right though. It.
But man, that again, it says, why it's so important, you know, quality music and songwriters like
Oh, yeah.
yourselves, because you give the tapestry for people to draw lessons from, and reflection and introspect, and then the elixir of love and romance and everything. But sometimes these words you take in, and then that's where you learn some lessons, and then you're better the next time.
Hopefully, prayerfully. Yeah. Yeah, that's
Prayerfully,
yeah.
prayerfully.
Yeah.
You don't have to say, look, say my name and just say, oh, I listened to Kara Riddick and now I got it.
Prayerfully. That's the goal. That's the goal.
That's the goal. That's the goal.
But
So,
I'm a work in progress, so
yes. So now, one of the things I also love about you is you love fashion
I do.
and makeup,
I do. Oh, I should have put
and
some
you
on today.
definitely. But you definitely are an artist who really changes their look and their visual and flexes in a lot of different ways. So that's
Thank
just so how would you describe your fashion style, and like who are some of your fashion influences?
you know what? That's so funny because I love, as much as I love fashion. My fashion is fueled and inspired by, it's my personality. So I guess you could say every facet of
Hmm.
my personality. Um, because I like my fur, I like my leather, I like my I like different 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 styles. But it's all comes from everything that's in me, all of who I am, and who I'm expressing in that moment, or what facet of my personality, I should say, I'm
Hmm.
expressing in that moment. But there are, oh my goodness, again, there's so many, there's too many to name how many fashion plates out there that
Yes.
an inspiration because there's a lot of great fashion out there.
Yes, and I mean, as an artist, it's great, especially when you're doing different projects and different songs. It's like it's an automatic reason to
No.
play and
Oh, yes.
experiment through the medium of fashion and makeup. And oh, today I'm going to give a little this. Oh, why don't with this project we go more like this?
Yes, yeah, yeah, and that's exactly what it is. But the person with whom I've worked, well, there are 2 people actually, Kevin Michael and Jay Pratt. Um, those
Mm.
2 gentlemen, between the 2 of
Yes,
them, they have allowed every single one of my personalities and or facets, I should say, because I'm not a schizophrenic, but every facet of my personality to live their best life. I should say that. Between Kevin Michael and Jay Pratt, every
yes.
single facet of my personality has had is allowed to live its best life.
And of course, Jay Pratt is the king of bedazzlement here in
Oh my
Philly. So you
God.
don't know Jay Pratt. He basically styles shoes and jackets and puts all these
Yes.
amazing like gems and feathers. And if you are a blingy like bedazzle loving person, Jay Pratt it is the stylist for
Whatever
you.
you want.
Oh,
Okay. Whatever you want, whatever. I mean, there have been times I've come in and I've said, "Okay, Jay, this is what I'm thinking. This or blah blah blah," and he'll say, "Okay," and then that's it. 3 days later, it is right before my eyes. Like that. That's a gift. That's a gift in
yes,
itself, in and
yes.
of itself. That's a gift.
So now, in addition to your music, you also are on the board of the Philadelphia Music Alliance
I
and
am.
and the Philadelphia Industry Task Force. So, can you tell us a bit about those organizations, their work, and what inspired you to be on the boards?
Yeah, well, it goes along with well, I keep at the core of who I am, I'm a caregiver. And it's important to me to to help to educate those who are coming, those who are working alongside me, but also those who are coming after me. Um, because in a lot of instances, there were things that I just did not know that I wish I had. And I feel like, again, we should all help one another. So I believe it's my responsibility to do so, to help the next person. But with the Philadelphia Music Alliance, and for those who are unfamiliar, those plaques that you see on, I don't know what you would call it, Broad Street or the around
Yes, yes, yes.
those plaques that you see are as a result of the board, the Philadelphia Music Alliance. We sit together and choose those individuals who will be honored and recognized by the city of Philadelphia. It's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful experience for me and responsibility. Because there's so many talents, so many.
Yes.
That with the connection to Philadelphia, as you were talking about the tapestry and the elixir of the city, um, just the city alone. So that is a huge responsibility that I love. And with regard to the music industry task force, when asked to participate in the task force, that too was another opportunity that I just jumped at because,
Mm.
of course, it's another opportunity to serve, and I love to serve. I love, love, love to serve because I believe we all should. I don't know. I keep saying
Yes.
it because I believe it. That's what I live. That's who I am. I believe we should
Our
help.
gifts aren't just for us. They're to
Yeah.
share with others and grow wings so that they can spread and touch people
How
and
about
give.
that? I say that. That's why I say our gifts are our ministry. We're the vessel. It flows through us. So I didn't do it wasn't like I went to the store and bought my gift. It
Right.
was yeah, so I always say that to people, but yeah, working with the Music Industry Task Force is a pleasure. The Philadelphia Music Alliance, the Recording Academy, like all of the responsibilities and the seats in which I sit. I find it a tremendous, tremendous, tremendous honor. It's a privilege and it's a pleasure. You know.
Now, have you or are you planning to work on new music during the Oh, I don't want to say quarantine-esque.
Yeah, I know, I know. You know what? And it's so funny, like when we were initially shut down, I had no desire to create. I didn't want to create any music, I should say, because I started doing other things. But in the more recent past, I don't know, the juices, they're just flowing. I have firecrackers going off. So I started listening to some music, some tracks that had been submitted to me a few months ago. And what I'm feeling in my spirit is that I need to do an EP. I need to put something else. And it's been too long. It really has been too long since I've put out an actual Carol Riddick project. So
Well, we're
yes, the
ready.
yes, I love it.
I am standing in a state of readiness.
I'm coming, Laura. I'm coming. I'm getting it together.
Well, when that happens, we're here for the follow-up interview.
Oh
So, you
yeah.
know, I, I'm here in support of all the things you do, and it's just always wonderful when you connect with women who are just share the same like principles and beliefs that you do.
I agree. You're right. It's a hug to the heart. I agree. I agree. You're right, Laura.
Well, I want to give a special shout out to Walt Reader Jr. and Big Black
Absolutely.
Entertainment. Of course, well, I could just spend half a show talking about what a wonderful person he is. But,
He is, isn't he?
that's
He
short
really
and sweet.
is.
Well, thank you for facilitating Carol and I chatting today. And he's someone who's just always doing such great things for the city
He
beyond
does.
just as a booking agent. He just does so much great things
Oh, I
for the
do.
city.
I do know he really does. He really does. And if you ask anyone that works with him, they'll tell you the same thing. We all love Walt. We love you, Walt.
Well, now where can our listeners and followers follow you on social media and keep up with all your work and projects?
Woohoo! I am on Instagram. I'm at Carol underscore Riddick. On Facebook, I have two pages: Carol Riddick fan page and Carol Riddick vocalist. um, where am I? What did I say? Yeah, Facebook, Instagram. I'm all over LinkedIn. I'm on all of them. But
And that's Riddick with two D's.
it is like the Chronicles.
Yes.
RIDDIC. But some people say, "What is that?" And I say,
What
"Oh,
is that?
yeah,
I'm like, oh my God, you young
you don't know that
child.
movie."
Vin Diesel in the cave with the bats. And,
No, but I know. They said, what is that? I don't know what that is.
that's what people
Laura,
say.
I
Oh,
cannot thank you enough. I cannot because I've just had too much fun. Oh my goodness, we could talk, talk, talk. We could just keep talking. But I thank you so much for inviting me to your platform. This has been so much fun.
It's been such a pleasure. So, of course, you can follow me on social media on Instagram at the Lauren Mazurk. Like and follow the Style and Empowerment Chat Lauren Friends Facebook page. Of course, you can catch us in our weekly time slots on Take It to the Streets Radio, FM1 Pakistan, The Voice Radio, WHTL Urban Radio, London Energy Radio, Downtown Hot Radio, and I think I listed them all. Of course, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Alexa, all our platforms. And also, Carol, quickly, you have your own podcast,
I do.
Pandora. Yep,
I
yep.
it's on all media streams. It's called Conversations Inside the Music with Carol Riddick.
Fantastic. Well, I hope you all have a wonderful and empowered day. Next week, we will be joined by award winning surgeon Dr. Leslie Ray Matthews, who is a proponent of the benefits of daily vitamin D intake and how it can combat COVID. So that will be another interesting chat. Taking you out on another Carol Riddick music outro, getting you all jazzy and in the right spirit. So I hope you have a wonderful holiday. I'll send you the file later. A blessed and uplift day, and it has been a true pleasure.
You too. Sending you love, Laura. Thank you.